Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wekiva High School welcomes you to Mustang Arena for varsity girls basketball competition in the last game of the regular season. Before we begin our game this evening, we ask that you please stand as we honor America with the presentation of colors by the Wekiva High School Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. Tonight's detail is under the command of Cadet Major Daniel Gutierrez, carrying the U.S. flag. Carrying the Florida State flag is Cadet First Lieutenant Genesis Ramirez Gutierrez. Carrying the Air Force flag, Cadet Senior Airman Anna Summerlin. And the Rifle Guards are Cadet Master Sergeant Jacob Michael and Cadet Staff Sergeant Curtis Garrett. And now please remain standing for the national anthem. And now let's meet the lineups for both teams, beginning with our guests from Lake Minneola. And we'll start at guard with 5'5" senior number 1, Elizabeth Tria. At guard, 5'2" junior number 2, Marissa McDonald. At wing, 5'9" senior number 5, Delana Forrest. At guard, 5'9" junior number 10, Megan Denizard. And finally, for the Hawks, at wing, 5'8" senior number 25, Asia Collins. The head coach of the Hawks, Ronald Brown, and assistant coaches Calvin Keller, Dejon Everson, and Donna Forrest. And now let's meet the starting lineup for your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Starting for the Mustangs at guard, 5'6" freshman number 10, Jada Eads. At forward, 6' junior number 15, Rylan Moffett. At forward, 5'11" junior number 32, Kanari Holiday. At guard, 5'6" senior number 23, Stephanie White. And finally for the Mustangs, at guard, 5'6" senior number 4, Shanaria Smith. The head coach of the Mustangs, Mr. Tommy Butts. Assistant coaches, Keisha Brown-Griffin, Robert Moultrie, LaToya Russ, and George Spearman. The officials for tonight's game are from the Central Florida Officials Association here in Orlando. We thank them for their dedicated service to our high school athletic programs and join them along with our participating schools, reminding everyone to make great sportsmanship a part of this and every athletic competition. For those of you who are here in the arena, make sure your friends and family back home are aware that we are live streaming tonight's game. If you would like to send them a message and let them know, they can tune in by searching for our channel, Wekiva Sports, on YouTube, or they can also tune in to the NFHS network. For those of you who are already joining us online, thanks for tuning in tonight, and we hope that you will subscribe while you're here. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wekiva Sports Channel. My name is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, joined by Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, ready to take you through tonight's final regular season contest. And in a Mustang first It is both senior night and homecoming. We have never before done homecoming during basketball season in 14 years. We've also never done senior night and homecoming on the same night, but that all changes right now.
Mark, and again, Mark, an excellent job of the introduction. Of course, Mark, you have been our public address announcer and sports information director since the school first opened 14 years, and certainly continuing that fine tradition. Again, if you just tuned in, as Mark mentioned, senior night and homecoming all at the same time as Lake Mary takes the lead to stop, pop, and drop along the baseline. 2-0. We just tipped off, and Wekiva comes in. This is their season finale, folks. A few less games, of course, because of the pandemic, and give the deuce to Stephanie White, one of the two seniors on this team that was just honored before tip-off.
Stephanie White on the Mustangs putback.
Great job by White getting that offensive rebound. Come back the other way. That's Eads, the freshman leading scorer. Gets the rebound, and she's going to try to go coast to coast. No, she's going to drop it off to Moffitt, who makes the withdrawal off the bank.
Eads to Moffitt for the Mustang bucket.
4 points in a row by Wekiva. They now have a 4-2 lead. 6:41 remaining in the first quarter here on from Mustang Gymnasium. It is senior night as well as homecoming. Wekiva in the white jerseys, Lake Minneola the opponent in the black jerseys, and they are looking to tie the game up. 4-2 is your score. And we're going to get an early timeout from Lake Minneola. 6:24 remaining, 4-2. Wekiva in the lead and on a 4-0 run.
30-second timeout requested by the Hawks.
And welcome back to Mustang Gymnasium, home of the Wekiva Mustangs, tonight's home team. This is the Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network, Wekiva in the white jerseys. And tonight is senior night as well as homecoming, and certainly you can feel there's a little bit more oomph in the air tonight. A very festive affair during the first minute and a half. Wekiva scoring 4 consecutive points. They're up 4-2. And they got the turnover, but then turned it over themselves. So Wekiva comes in 17-3. They come off a 75-52 victory over, of course, intra-city rival Apopka. And that game might have been their finest of the season. They were on the road. That game played at Apopka. They took a 10-0 lead. And Coach Russ talked about the defense really being the key as we get a stoppage.
Held ball, possession, Hawks.
So a 10-0 lead was taken by Apopka in their last game, by Wekiva in the last game against Apopka. And as we get the attempt from the tray, from the corner, that's Denizard, unable to get it. Smith, one of the two seniors being honored tonight, with the long rebound, no hesitation, and makes the withdrawal from the bank.
Shadaria Smith, coast to coast for 2.
6-2. Lake Minneola comes back the other way in the yellow jerseys. This is Eads. She is looking to up that Wekiva lead. 6-2 is the lead. Kicks it out to Moffitt. Left wing extended. Stop, pop, and drop. 8 in a row for Wekiva.
Rylan Moffitt picks up a long 2-point jumper for the Mustangs. The pass from Eads.
And just also wanted to mention as well, in the game against Apopka, Wekiva's last outing, a 75-52 victory. Coach Russ, as we get the kick off the heel and the fast break, Coach Russ singled out Moffitt and Howday for a great all-around game. Of course, Moffitt scoring a deuce here tonight already. That's Stephanie White unable to connect with the rim. She's one of the two seniors. Shadaria Smith, the other senior, being honored tonight before tip-off. Only 2 seniors in this class, in this team. And, of course, Wekiva now 17-3 with that victory against Apopka, looking to close out the season on a victory and up their record to 18-3.
Foul is called on the floor against Mustangs number 23, Stephanie White. That's her first personal foul and the team's first. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 24, Madeline Touzé.
And so now, as you just heard Mark announce, Madeline Touzé coming into the game. She is a regular starter. Of course, the tradition in high school basketball is that a shot is no good from Denizar. Kicks off the heel. A little give and go as we come up. The tradition as Eads takes the tray, and that's going to bounce and roll, but Touzé just coming into the game and doing that work under the boards.
Madeline Touzé on the putback.
So the tradition is that the seniors do get to start, and unfortunately for Touzé, she had to make way, although I'm sure given the fact that Stephanie White, who came in and has the ball now for Wekiva, is doing a nice job. She's taken 3 field goals tonight.
To the paint, I think we might have got a piece of that one. That might have gone to Holiday there. Eads gets the rebound. It's going to get swatted away at the other end and out of bounds. Checking into the game for Minneola, number 13, Jada Mendez.
So the 4 other players on the court for Wekiva wearing the white jerseys. Besides Touzé is Smith, guard. She's a senior. Eads, the guard, freshman. Moffitt, the forward, junior. And Halliday, the forward, junior. In the meantime, Wekiva continues that run, 12-2.
Shadaria Smith steals 2 for the Mustangs, and we'll pause for another timeout.
So a quick start, a hot start for Wekiva. 12-2 here on senior night in homecoming.
Full timeout called by the Hawks.
3:46 remaining.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi here with Neil Fisher, and I don't think that's what they talked about during the timeout. It's nearly picked off. Mustangs can't control it, though. We're going to have some personnel changes here. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Shania McCarthy and Rylan Moffitt.
And as Lake Minneola looks to inbound the ball, they come in 9-7, a team that actually got off to a very inauspicious start. They've actually won 4 of their last 5 to get their record to 9-7. So Lake Minneola looking to continue some momentum. And they are going to cut the lead to 12-4.
Elizabeth Tria down the paint for 2.
So Lake Minneola
gets the steal here. And Tria can't get the shot. It's going to go to McCarthy, and then we have a loose ball foul. Foul is called against Mustangs, number 10, Jada Eads. That's her first personal foul, the team's second. At the line, shooting is number 1, Elizabeth Tria.
So Lake Minneola is in Class 5A, District 5. Again, they are 9-7. They've won 4 of their last 5 games to get their record up to 9-7, and they will actually finish the season against Lake Ware. That game's on Tuesday. Again, most teams playing around 20 games instead of 25 due to the pandemic. Wekiva, this is their season finale. They are 17-3, and that's Moffitt unable to get the shot off. It's blocked, but good offensive rebounding for Wekiva. Again, crashing those boards hard. Eads. Stop, pop, and drop. A nice floating shot from the free throw.
Eads on the jumper.
14-5, 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter. This is the Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi taking you through tonight's game live from Mustang Gymnasium. And Wekiva on defense, but Minneola with
Tria
the
to Collins for the basket. So Neil, something else we just announced earlier today, or rather the FHSAA did, and so we passed the information on, is those postseason brackets. And we now know, we knew that Wekiva was going to be hosting the postseason tournament. We now know what's going to happen and when. Wekiva has secured the number 2 seed. Mainland got the number 1 seed. Wekiva and Mainland have been back and forth all year. Very, very close on their strength of schedule and power rankings. And then just based on where the FHSAA drew the line and cut it off, Mainland was just a shade ahead. That's likely not to make a great deal of difference to the grand scheme of things, but it means that Wekiva will have the 2 seed going into the tournament. As we get a steal here at the other end and a long pass.
And that's McCarthy, who came in during the break. The junior kicks it out to Tuesday, her fellow junior classmate, who kicks the ball off the heel. And a foul with Lake Minneola coming up with that rebound. (14-7) is the score. 1:47 remaining in the first quarter, live from Mustang Gymnasium. And to your point, Mark, Mainland and Wekiva were 1-2 in the district last year. They wound up playing for the district championship. And then they also met in the regional semifinals. That's the round of 16. As Tuesday sticks her hand in, ball comes loose, and
I think she's going to draw the foul.
Yeah, it looked like a foul.
Foul is called against number 25, Asia Collins, on the hold. It's her first and the team's first.
So Lake Minneola has 5 turnovers, and that's really the stat that's sticking out now. Wekiva doubling up. Lake Minneola, Wekiva in the white, 14-7 is score, 1:30 remaining in the first quarter. This is Eads. Drops the ball over to Tuesday, left wing extended to McCarthy. Back underneath to Gordon, another freshman, can't get the roll, and some hard work underneath. Coming up with the defensive rebound is Melendez for Lake Minneola. So score remains 14-7. That's going to be temporary as Gordon sticks her hands in and goes coast to coast and drops the deuce off the bank.
Maria Gordon steals 2 for the Mustangs.
So getting back to Wekiva Mainland, they played for the district championship tournament last year. Wekiva won. It was a game that was close for about 2.5 quarters. Then Wekiva went on a couple of runs of over 2 points as Minneola commits the 6th turnover. Some great work along the sidelines to trap Minneola, resulting in that turnover. And then, of course, Mainland did make that FHSA postseason tournament, even though they did not win the district championship. They were the 8th seed in Region 2. And the way that the FHSAA now does the playoffs, as Holiday takes the pass and we have a whistle and it's offensive charging.
No, actually that is Canary Holiday called for traveling.
Oh, traveling, okay.
Hawks ball.
Okay, either way, it is a turnover. 6-3, Lake Minneola with the 6. So the 4 district champions in each region get an automatic berth into the FHSA postseason tournament, if you prefer state playoffs. And they get one of the top 4 seeds. As we get the drive, the dash, no good. Holiday coming up with a big rebound. And then the point system determines the 4 other teams that get in with the wild card. The ball will go over to Lake Minneola, 16.7 seconds remaining.
Out of bounds, Hawks ball.
And and again, Mainland was one of those 4 wild card teams, despite not winning the district championship. So certainly, again, a history between Mainland and Wekiva. And if you just tuned in, the reason we're bringing that up is Mainland is your number 1 seed. Wekiva is number 2 for this year's district championship tournament, which will take place here at Mustang Gymnasium.
Held ball, possession Mustangs.
So Wekiva's 16-7 lead, 8 seconds remaining, possession of the ball. Opportunity to get some momentum going into that second half while increasing the lead. And this is going to be Smith. No, off the heel, and the first quarter ends. Score remains 16-7 in favor of Wekiva.
That takes us to the end of the first period. That's a 9-point advantage for the Mustangs at the end of 8 minutes here on Senior Night and Homecoming 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, we remind you to stick around at halftime tonight. We'll be presenting the homecoming court. I have the envelope here with me with all of the freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. We'll be presenting that for the first time ever in school history. That'll be presented at halftime.
Mustang Gymnasium is the site of tonight's game. Wekiva begins the second quarter holding a 16-7 lead. Lake Minneola with possession of the ball. And a quick turnover, and this is Shadaria Smith, who's going to make the withdrawal from the bank. The turnover and the deuce.
Shadaria Smith opens up second quarter scoring on the stolen basket.
And that's Eads. Interception, like a defensive back, into Gordon. She tries to drop it down. Smith comes up, and a couple of deuces for Smith to start the second quarter.
McCarthy to Shadaria Smith for two more.
And just like that, a 9-point lead has grown to 13, 20-7. The scoop shot underneath for Tria, unable to get it, and a foul on the rebound.
Foul is called against Hawks number 25, Asia Collins. That's her second personal foul, the team's second.
Wekiva in the white jerseys holding a 20-7 lead. They have led from start to finish. Well, actually, they gave up the first 2 points and then went on a 12-0 run, and they have led since then. Of course, tonight is senior night, and Shadaria Smith, who has scored all 4 points in the second quarter, make that all 6 as she goes bank.
Shadaria Smith from Canary Holiday.
One of the 2 seniors who were honored before tonight's game. Certainly making this a night to remember. Only a quarter in, Smith, and she's going to come up with another interception playing DB.
Shadaria Smith steals another layup. She's got 10 points in the books, and we're only a minute into the second quarter.
Well, she scored 6 points here in less than a minute and a half in the second quarter, and 4 of those points have actually come off of turnovers. So 24-7 is now the score. Wekiva in the lead. They've led for all but about 30 seconds.
Nice block and rebound there by Canary Holiday. Mustangs try to get it out of the backcourt, and they do. Wide open at the three-point line. A little too hot for McCarthy, but Canary Holiday has the Mustangs put back.
Doing the work under the board, Holiday. And now another hand stuck in by McCarthy and wasn't able to quite corral the ball before going out of bounds.
Yeah, the Mustangs seem bound and determined that that ball shall not pass the half-court line without being at least touched by Mustang fingers as Rylan Moffitt comes into the game for Gordon.
6:07 before halftime. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi bring you live action on a Thursday night. Again, Wekiva coming in at 17-3. This is their season finale. Of course, you want to go into the postseason with momentum. And that was Denizard, who really had nowhere to go and travels.
Traveling, Mustangs ball.
So looking at the first half, again, the score was 16-7 at that time. It's now 26-7. A 9-0 run to start the second quarter. The stat that really stuck out was the field goal attempts. Neither team shot the ball particularly well. Wekiva shooting 40% compared to Lake Mirror's 33. However, Wekiva had 20 compared to 12. They were 8 of 20 from the floor. They actually shot the ball very well from two-point range, 8 of 15. That's White, who could not take the ball to the basket, get the ball to go down, come back the other way, a block. That was Tria trying to take the shot, and guess who has the ball again? Smith dumps it off to Gordon. Out of bounds, Lake Minneola ball. So Wekiva continues into this second quarter, the trend of just out shooting Lake Minneola. Again, they had a 20-12 advantage in field goal attempts, and you don't have to be a basketball guru to understand the more field goal attempts you take, the more likely you are to score. No good. Kicks off the heel. This is Smith. Again, the senior looking to make a statement tonight. Can't get that one to drop off the bank. And there will be a foul on the rebound. Wekiva committing that foul.
Foul is called against Mustangs, number 15, Rylan Moffitt. That's her first personal foul, and the team's fourth.
And the other key stat that stuck out in the first quarter was rebounds. Wekiva 15-7 advantage. 8-6 was the turnovers in that first quarter. Lake Minneola committing 8. The reason I bring that up, as we get an attempt through the middle from McDonald, and Howday just says, give me that ball. We come back the other way. Wekiva possession. Well, Lake Minneola has turned the ball over 4 times, and we're only 3 minutes into the second quarter. Wekiva scored 8 points off those 4 turnovers. They've scored 9 total in the second quarter.
Foul is called against Minneola's number 2, Marissa McDonald. Her first personal foul, the team's third.
Tuesday with the ball, goes down low. Smith picks it up, and Howday unable to grab that ball in the middle of traffic. Good defense here for Lake Minneola. And Wekiva leads 26-7, 4:42 remaining in the second quarter.
Out of bounds, Mustangs ball.
And again, turnovers has really been the statistic here in the second quarter. That's the 6th turnover for Lake Minneola. We are not even halfway through the second quarter. Wekiva scored 10 points off of the 5 previous turnovers. They have possession of the ball. They kick it down to the corner to Moffitt. Air ball, and that's Stephanie White, one of the 2 seniors being honored tonight, who draws the foul while doing work on that left block.
Foul is called against number 11, Deshandra Cintron. That's her first personal foul, the team's fourth. At the line, Stephanie White.
So White at the line, drops the first. These are the first 2 free throws that Wekiva has taken tonight. 27-7 is the score. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi on the Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network. And both free throws good for White, and that ups the lead to 28-7. Again, Wekiva gave up the first 2 points, a 12-0 run, and they have led ever since then. Tuesday with
Madeline
the steal.
Tuesday on the Mustang layup.
7 turnovers now for Lake Minneola. They have possession of the ball. This is Force, and she's going to commit another turnover. Smith, and we see that repeat. Steal.
Shadaria Smith steals the Mustang layup.
So 8 turnovers now in the second quarter by Lake Minneola, and Wekiva scored on each of those turnovers. And a timeout called to discuss that. 32-7 is the score. Wekiva in the lead.
Full timeout called by the Hawks. We'll be right back.
And we return to live action from Mustang Gymnasium. Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network, Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi. Glad you could join us. And of course, handling our video side of this broadcast is the broadcast production department here at Wekiva, headed up by Keith Dickerson. Wekiva in the white jerseys on defense, holding a 32-7 lead. A 12-0 run gave them the lead, which began about 30 seconds into this ball game, and they have been expanding that lead since then.
Yeah, Neil, at this point, Minneola's got to be careful. If they don't stop this momentum, they're going to be in a running clock the whole second half.
Yeah, 35 points in the second half, the running clock comes into effect. That basically means, other than timeouts in the break between the third and fourth quarters, the clock does not stop. Eads kicks the ball out, and no roll, but Tuzet doing some work under the boards.
Madeline Tuzet is fouled on the attempt. She'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. The foul is called against Hawks. Number 2, Marissa McDonald. That's her second personal foul, and the team's 5th.
And so Tuzet will go to the board, the junior. She has 4 points. Shadaria Smith is your leading scorer tonight. 14 points as Tuzet gets the roll. The rim certainly kind on that bounce. Tonight is senior night. We also will have homecoming festivities between halftime, so stick around for that. First time that's ever been done here in the gymnasium and during basketball season. The score is now 34-7 as Tuzet drops the 2 free throw attempts. And we have a stoppage for a foul.
Mustang foul called against number 21, Princess Harden, on the push. Her first personal foul and the team's 5th. So something else I wanted to mention earlier, Neil, when we talked about the playoffs or the postseason that's about to start, is, well, nearly got a steal there.
By the way, 9 turnovers now for Lake Minneola.
Well, add one more. Well, no, actually, no, never mind. They are going to keep it on the same
possession
side. So it is still Minneola ball. What I was starting to say, though, is even though Wekiva and Mainland have been back and forth for the 1 and 2 seed, the reality is the only thing that changes is which team you have to go through to get to the district championship. It really doesn't change the total number of games you have to play. Doesn't change the relative difficulty level, frankly, by that much, given the other teams that are in the district. So what that means is Wekiva has the night off on Tuesday. We will be hosting games here at Wekiva High School between the 4-5 seeds and the 3-6 seeds, but Wekiva will not be in those games. They get a bye, as does Mainland, since there are 6 teams, which is not a power of 2.
And another turnover. That's Tuzet with the bounce pass to Harden, who takes advantage off the boards.
Princess Harden from Madeline Tuzet for 2.
Yeah, and by the way, when I said 9 turnovers a minute ago, that was 9 turnovers in the second quarter. 17 total for Lake Minneola, who comes in with a 9-7 record. And Wekiva scored off each of those 9 turnovers in this quarter.
Princess Harden is called on the hit. That's her second personal foul, the team's 6th. And several personnel changes for Wekiva. Everybody getting good minutes tonight.
Yes, tonight on senior night, and also the season finale, regular season finale for Wekiva. And this is Tria along the baseline. She's stopped there by Gordon. And Holiday pulling down another rebound from that forward position. Wekiva slowing the pace down somewhat. That was actually the slowest they've moved the ball up all night.
And we've got a turnover here as Amaria Gordon does a bounce pass out of bounds. Hawks ball. I think she was expecting somebody to move into the key and didn't happen, but the Hawks will quickly return the favor.
Harden with the hustle gets the steal.
Gordon gets blocked. And no, never mind. She gets fouled instead.
Well, she was blocked, but there was contact made in order to get the block.
Foul is called against number 5, Delana Forrest. That's her first personal foul, the team's 6th, and at the line shooting will be Princess Harden.
So exactly 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
Amaria Gordon shooting.
36-7 is the lead with Amari Gordon at the line, as Mark just mentioned. If you guys have not been following Wekiva basketball, Mark, of course, is our PA announcer. So that's why you hear him maybe in the background. And unfortunately, Gordon not able to get either free throw. Good news, though, is the lead remains 29, 36-7.
So as I mentioned a moment ago, Wekiva has a bye from the first round. Didn't really matter whether they were the 1 or 2 seed to get that. That means Wekiva has Tuesday off. They will play on Wednesday night here at Wekiva because Wekiva is the host of the tournament. We don't know against whom yet, but we do know when and where. Deshandra Citron gets the basket and a chance to make it a 3-point play. The foul is called against Mustangs. Princess Harden, her 3rd, the team's 7th.
So Citron at the line. She now has 3 points and will keep it at 3. as we drop under 2 minutes, and Eads brings the ball up for Wekiva, the leading scorer in the freshman. So certainly Wekiva's future looking bright with their freshman class. And that's Gordon. Speaking of freshman class, she can't get the roll. And with 1:28 remaining, the ball will be turned over once again, the 12th of this quarter for Lake Minneola. Again, that was really the stat that has stood out tonight. Certainly in the second quarter, 12 turnovers. And Wekiva also with an advantage in field goal attempts. And about probably half of those. Wekiva now up to 30 in total. And just the eyeball test, I'd say at least half of those field goal attempts have come following Lake Minneola turnovers. Going to get that 31st. This one's an air ball. It's scramble. That's Eads again picking it up. Couple steps. Kicks off the front of the heel. 1 minute remaining. 36-9. Wekiva in the lead. They have led for all but about the first 30 seconds. A 12-0 lead, 12-0 run, putting them into that lead, which has now been expanded to 27 points.
Foul is called against Mustangs number 12, Amaria Gordon. That's her first personal foul. The team's 8th. That puts the Hawks into bonus as Rylan Moffitt comes into the game for Princess Hardin. At the line, shooting 1-1, Megan Denizard.
And so with Denizard at the line, she scored 2 points tonight. We'll keep it there. Holiday coming down with the rebound. Quick reminder, stick around at halftime. We will have the first ever homecoming celebration, not only during basketball season, but inside here at Mustang Gymnasium as Wekiva. That's 9 turnovers now for Wekiva.
McCarthy returns to the game.
Lake Minneola inbounds the game. Tria brings the ball up. 42 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Back to Denizard, who tries to get the deuce and does.
Megan Denizard down the baseline for 2.
That cuts the lead to 36-11. The 25-point deficit is the closest Lake Minneola has been probably since that first quarter. Wekiva, again, went on a 12-0 run starting about 30 seconds into this game, and they've just been expanding that lead since then. Holiday, stop, pop, and drop from 12 feet.
Canary Holiday from Eads for 2.
Showing some range. Lake Minneola with the ball. 10 seconds remaining. One last opportunity to at least negate some of Wekiva's momentum. 2 seconds. 1.4 seconds. A whistle and a foul.
Foul is called against number 15, Rylan Moffitt on the hold. That's her second personal foul, the team's 9th. At the line, shooting 1-1, number 5, Delana Forrest.
So certainly not a smart foul by Moffitt with 1.4 seconds left, and quite frankly, I'm not sure Lake Minneola would have been able to get a field goal off anyway. They were scrambling to get possession. Nonetheless, the good news is you have a 27-point lead, so not big damage in this game. The rebound kicks off the front of the rim, and the first half will end 38-12 in favor of Wekiva.
That takes us to the end of the first half. And the Mustangs enjoying a 26-point advantage. 38-12 is the score at intermission of this varsity contest, the final contest of the season for the Mustangs. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're going to celebrate homecoming for the class of 2021 coming up in just a moment. A very first basketball season homecoming ever, and we'll be setting those preparations underway. We'll be back in just a moment with that. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome once again to the arena floor the Wekiva High School Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps serving as marshals for tonight's homecoming celebration. And now we present your Wekiva High School homecoming court for the class of 2021. We'll begin with our freshman court. And our freshman members of the homecoming court are Joshua Jacob and Anamaya Honor. Moving on to the sophomore class, the class of 2023. John Lewis Smith, a participant in soccer, tennis, track, and ROTC, who plans to become a mechanical engineer. His favorite quote is "Thug Life." And also for the sophomore class, Chantel Richardson. For the junior class, first we have Francisco Salado, participating in marching band, soccer, and water polo. After graduating, plans to join the U.S. Navy and pursue a career as a Navy SEAL, then go on to college. He says, "The pain you feel today is the strength you feel tomorrow," and he is escorted by his mom, Alejandra Cortez. Also, for the junior class of 2022, we have Emily Esposito. She is the Mission Support Group Commander for Air Force JROTC and a part of the Culinary Arts program, both for 3 years. She plans to attend college to study to become a veterinarian. Her favorite quote is from Mother Teresa: "I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the water to create many ripples." She's escorted by her mother, Joy James. And now we move on to our senior homecoming court for the class of 2021. And we'll begin with Elijah Hampton. Our next candidate for homecoming king is Kyla Cambra, a participant in dance and cheer. He plans to go on to Purchase Conservatory in New York City. He says, "Don't be afraid to be you." Our next candidate for homecoming king for the senior class is Jacob Park, a participant in golf and tennis, where he is a captain on both, also a member of Beta Club and the Honor Society, currently reviewing several acceptances for in-state colleges to study finance. His favorite quote is from John Denver: "Peace is a conscious choice," and he is escorted by his beautiful mother, Jennifer Park. Our next candidate for homecoming king, a member of the senior homecoming court, is Charles Vickers. Escorted by his mom, Alnika Vickers, his dad, Charles Vickers Sr., and his little brother, Kanan. He is on the football team at Wekiva and previously played at Jones. And after high school, he plans on getting a bachelor's degree in sports administration. And our final member of the homecoming court, who is a candidate for homecoming king, is Kendall Wilson II. Escorted by his mom and dad, Kendall Sr., and Mrs. Coffee Wilson. He has played football at Wekiva all 4 years and is recently committed to attending St. Thomas University to further his football career. His favorite quote is from Bruce Lee: "A goal is not always meant to be reached. It often serves simply as something to aim at." And now we move on to the ladies. Our first candidate for homecoming queen, Ashari Buford. Shari is escorted by her mother, Samantha Williams, and her father, Preston Buford. 3 years of cheerleading under her belt, as well as track and field for 8.5 years and weightlifting for a year. She plans to go to college to run track and eventually to become a head athletic trainer for either the NBA, NFL, or WNBA. Her favorite quote is, "Good luck in the future. May all your dreams and wishes come true." Our next candidate for homecoming queen on the senior court is Alyssa Davis. A participant in dance and Future Farmers of America, she plans on attending the University of Florida. Her favorite quote, "Be the woman that fixes another woman's crown without letting the world know it's crooked." Escorted by Emily Nash. Our next candidate on the senior homecoming court is Kayla Follins. Next up on the senior homecoming court, Arkaya McClendon. Escorted by her mom, Artisha Scott, and her dad, Duncan McClendon. Arkaya was a football manager for 2 years, senior class president, junior class vice president. She also cheered for 3 years and was part of SAFE Ambassadors for 1 year. She plans to go to FAMU or Tallahassee Community College to become a physician's assistant in sports medicine. Her favorite quote is from Augmendino, "Failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough." And finally, for the Mustang senior homecoming courts, we have Areli Patricio, who's not able to join us tonight, but she is, of course, a star of the Mustang soccer team and will be going on to pursue that in college, where she's earned a scholarship for that reason. And now we are ready to crown our class of 2021 homecoming king and queen. Ladies and gentlemen, your homecoming king for the class of 2021 is Kai Lacambra. And joining him as the royalty for the class of 2021, your homecoming queen is Arkaya McClendon. Congratulations to our entire homecoming court, particularly our seniors in the class of 2021, and to Kai Lacambra and Arkaya McClendon, your 2021 homecoming king and queen. Once again, we want to thank our Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps for their participation in tonight's ceremony. Cadets, thank you for your presence here tonight. And for those of you listening online, we're going to take a quick break while the teams have an opportunity to warm up for the second half. We'll be back from Mustang Arena in just a moment. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, here with Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief. We just crowned our homecoming king and queen and made Wekiva history in doing so. The first time we've ever done that in January at a basketball game. Wekiva is going to start with a turnover here in the third quarter, and it immediately converts to points as Megan Denizard steals two.
And so that cuts the lead to 38-14. Yes, I said 38-14. Wekiva actually had a lead as big as 28. That's Moffitt unable to get the ball to roll. Wekiva has led for all but about the first 30 seconds. A 12-0 run put him into the lead, starting with 30 seconds into the first quarter. And again, this is the season finale for Wekiva. They're looking to up their record to 18-3. Of course, due to the pandemic, most teams are playing about 20 games instead of the usual 25.
Yeah, and that's something I wanted to point out, Neil, that one of the reasons that Wekiva's strength of schedule and rating is not higher is because several of the games that got canceled off their schedule were the toughest games of the season that, if they had won, probably would have pushed their rating up pretty significantly, as we have a foul called against number 25, Asia Collins, her third, the team's first this half. Shadaria Smith shooting 2.
Yeah, they had on January 26th, which of course was Tuesday, Calvary Christian, Mount Verde on January 14th, West Oaks on December 10th. So those are 3 games. All those teams, although they are in the mid-range in terms of classification, certainly teams that always contend for state championships.
Yeah, and a win against any of those schools would have pushed up Wekiva's strength of schedule rating. Of course, as my humanities professor in college said, if things would have been different, things would have been different. Madeline Touzé is called on the push. That's her second personal foul. The team's first this half.
Yeah, my PE and health teacher, when I was a student at Valencia College, liked to say would have, should have, could have as well. So we're 1 minute into the third quarter. 39-14 is the lead. Wekiva in the home jerseys. They are also the home team. This is the Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network, broadcasting live from Mustang Gymnasium under the triad of stampeding horses on that far wall. And score the rain, drain the rain from Denizard.
Denizard for 3.
And that's the first tray of the night for either team. This is Eads, who slashes and dashes through that lane, draws the foul.
Jada Eads fouled on the attempt, will go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. The foul is called against number 5, Delana Forrest, on the hold. That's her second personal foul. The team's second this half.
Of course, Mark, you mentioned when we began the second half that we just had homecoming. A second homecoming for Wekiva tonight during halftime. It's also senior night. And Shadaria Smith and Stephanie White were honored, only 2 seniors in this year's team. However, the freshman class certainly has put their mark on this season, Jada Eads being the lead among those 3 on the freshman class. And she is now, that's actually, 10 points now for Eads. And Wekiva is going to call a timeout. Are they, not happy with the start. As
Tria scores the 3, and the Mustangs request a timeout. A 2-pointer for Tria. We'll get that corrected on the scoreboard.
So a 25-point lead has been cut to 21. 40-19 is the score. We'll be back on the Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network. And we return to live action from Mustang Gymnasium. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi, along with the broadcast production department at Wekiva Mustangs, bring you live action from Mustang Gymnasium. 40-19, Wekiva with the ball in the lead. And
Omaria Gordon on the pass to Shadaria Smith for 2.
And so Smith, of course, being honored tonight, senior night. She is now up to 17 points and an opportunity to get some more. She's going to dish the ball off to Eads. Senior to freshman. Short. Smith, though, gets the rebound, a second short shot, and some work under the board for Lake Minneola. So we come back the other way. Wekiva's lead was 27 at halftime, now down to 21. It's going to remain 21 for, 21 again. And whatever touch they had in the first quarter seems to have eluded Wekiva now here at the beginning of the second quarter. The spin.
Yeah, although in spite of that, Minneola making no real effort there to get either of those rebounds. They did not rush down after the steal, and just seeing a general lack of interest on that particular possession. Marissa McDonald is called with a foul. That's her third personal, the team's third. Eads shooting.
So Eads with 9 points. Again, actually Eads with 3 points tonight. That's her fourth. Talked about tonight being senior night. Shadaria Smith, Stephanie White honored, but of course 3 freshmen are on this varsity team, so the future certainly looks very bright. This is not going to be any downturn for Wekiva, who of course has won 2 state championships, 5 trips to the state Final Four, and they feel like they have some unfinished business after losing the state final last season.
I think that Tuesday might have gotten a piece of that one. Eads gets the rebound. Here comes Eads up the paint. Easy layup. Jada Eads for 2.
The spin and the withdrawal from the bank.
Just cut through that inside defense like butter.
Yeah, it's cliche as it might sound, but cliches are cliches because they are true. Tuesday gets in the way, bounce pass to Smith, baseline, and another bank and deuce.
Madeline Tuesday to Shadaria Smith.
Smith up to 19, certainly making a name, making the most of senior night, 19 points.
Oops.
Scramble under the board. Halliday getting her body in the way, and she will also force
that is going to be a turnover. They're going to say that one off of, that was a little bit of a Abbott and Costello routine going on there.
So the first half, as a tray, the third of the quarter, dropped
Denizard
by
to Collins for 3.
So taking a quick look at the halftime stats, a little bit behind, but Wekiva got that big lead, the 25-plus lead, as Eads again drops a tray.
Jada Eads from Shadaria Smith for 3.
49-22. Field goal attempts, Wekiva shooting 43% from the field. It's an okay stat, respectable, nothing to write home, but that is a big stat because Lake Mary shot only 21. 40-21 was the advantage for Wekiva. Lake Mary shooting 5 of 21 for 24%. The other big stat, of course, we talked about that extensively in this first half, was turnovers. 19 for Lake Mary, 9 for Wekiva. And that's a big stat because Wekiva scored points off of all of those 19 Lake Minneola turnovers. So with
returning to the game for the Mustangs, Rylan Moffitt.
Now, so far in the third quarter, turnovers have not been an issue. Only 2 for Lake Minneola and 1 for Wekiva.
Shania McCarthy also into the game.
And also mentioned that neither team drained a tray from the first half. We've had 3 from Lake Minneola, 1 from Wekiva. And a little less than 4 minutes here in the third quarter. The inbound pass off the heel. The tray does not go. Halliday making herself big under the basket. The long outlet. Tom Brady.
Shadaria knew she didn't have that. Gets it to Moffitt. Moffitt gets blocked.
And we come down the other way. Lake Minneola taking the shot, the 6-footer. Rebound on the ground. Moffitt picks up the 50-50 ball, the outlet to Smith, and she's just going to take it herself. And the aggressiveness pays off.
Shadaria Smith draws the foul. She'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. Foul called against Minneola. Number 10, Megan Denizard. That's her first personal foul. And it's the team's 4th.
And so also to conclude the first half stats, Wekiva also came up with 29 rebounds compared to 14 for Lake Minneola. And so that free throw, converted free throw from Smith, has now given her 20. She reaches the milestone, still a quarter and almost a half. And of course, that's got to be a great feeling for Smith on senior night, being one of 2 seniors honored before the game. The lead is actually now 50-22, which is the largest of the game for Wekiva. They were at 27 points at the end of the first half. That lead was cut to 21 at the beginning of the second half by Lake Minneola, but a 6-0 run by Wekiva since Coach Butts called a timeout midway through the third quarter. And we're seeing some long passes now. This is McCarthy, still looking for her first points of the game. Unable to drop the 12-footer. Lake Minneola picks the ball up. They will come the other way.
Yeah, Shadaria Smith, as you mentioned a moment ago, with 20 points and still has a quarter and a half to go.
And that's Moffitt with the ball. Tries to get it to Smith, but unable to keep the ball in bound, and we'll have a turnover.
Shadaria Smith mentioned in her senior night bio earlier that she was maybe she thought she was the first Wekiva player to get to 1,000 points, which may be true, but I could swear I gave a 1,000-point ceremony to Kyla Allison as well several years ago.
Okay.
Either way, it's a pretty rare club.
Yeah, even if Allison did do that, reach that 1,000, that means there's only 2 players.
Yeah, 1,000 points is an important milestone for a high school varsity career because that's the rarefied air that very few players in either boys or girls basketball will ever get to, just because, I mean, you're talking about a 25-game season, even if there's not a pandemic, even if you're a direct-to-varsity freshman, you're not going to get more than, and playoff games added in there, you're not going to get more than about 110 or so opportunities, so you got to be averaging double figures, as Shania McCarthy picks up 2 for the Mustangs.
Yeah, and you mentioned, Mark, that's even if you go direct to varsity. Most players do not come to varsity until at least their sophomore year. I'd say the majority of them don't even start or see significant time until their junior season. So,
and like I said, you got to average about a double-figure performance every game, and that's not accounting for the fact that you typically don't see a lot of minutes in your freshman and sophomore years as a varsity player, if any at all.
And then you have to also figure in the fact that you do usually get at least 1 year where there's pretty significant turnover as the ball kicks off the heel. Smith showing she's got some offensive prowess, and the player who usually does the offensive rebounding, Holiday, withdraws
Canary
from
Holiday
the bank.
from Hardin.
So 54-22, 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter, and the running clock.
Holiday got a piece of that one.
Yeah, again, doing the offensive boards, and now she comes back the other way and does the work on defense. But the running clock comes into effect when we reach a 35-point margin.
Although, frankly, in this game, it may not make much difference. This has been a pretty fast-moving game. There's a nice
there it
play.
Is.
Shadaria Smith, 4-3.
Draining the rain. The lead is 35, which means we will have a running clock for the rest of the game. The clock will only stop for timeouts in the break between the third and fourth quarters. Smith with 23 on senior night. And I believe that was Tuesday who came down with the rebound. No, that was Princess Hardin. So this has been a game which pretty much does reflect that score, 57-22. A very dominating and thoroughly dominating performance by Wekiva. And again, not to say that Lake Minneola, certainly they're a team that is not at the top of the tongue when you talk about state championships, but they do come in with a 9-7 record.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, this is particularly prominent in girls basketball, probably more so than the boys. But you have like this kind of Lake Minneola has been able to establish that record against typical girls basketball teams in Central Florida, as Delana Forrest gets the jump shot. However, Wekiva exists in that elite space and really has ever since Tommy Butts took over the program, and it's just a different class. I mean, a lot of schools feel like they run into a buzzsaw when they play against Wekiva or schools like them.
Yeah, just real quick before we go to the break, Wekiva was the state runner-up last year. They gave up an 11-point lead with 11 minutes remaining in that state championship final against Eli Blanche, and that was considered a disappointing year. So the score is 57-24. This is the Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to invite you to join us next week as the Wekiva High School hosts the 2000 21 FHSAA Class 6A District 4 Tournament. On Tuesday, Wekiva will host 2 games, but Wekiva has earned a bye, and so they will not be playing in either of them. But nevertheless, if you'd like to come out, there are 2 games coming up next Tuesday. At 5 o'clock, it'll be South Lake against Winter Springs. At 7 o'clock, it'll be New Smyrna Beach against Forest. Then on Wednesday, the Mustangs finally play. We'll start with a game at 5 o'clock between Mainland and the winner of the New Smyrna Forest game. And then at 7 o'clock, Wekiva finally takes the court in a semifinal against either South Lake or Winter Springs. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. The Mustangs have the opening possession of the 4th period.
57-24 is your score. Wekiva's led for all but about 30 seconds. A 12-0 run starting about 30 seconds into the game put them into the lead for good.
Foul is called against number 2, Marissa McDonald. And that's her 4th personal foul, the team's 5th.
I'm Neil Fisher. Mark Barchi is the voice you just heard. He's also our public address announcer. And, of course, Mark has held that position along with Sports Information Director since the school opened.
Well, Sports Information Director kind of evolved.
Okay. Well, you, perhaps not formally, but you've always been the man who's handled the sports information. We do have a running clock, and that means that Wekiva has a 35-point lead. It's actually 33 now, but it was up to 35. The clock continues to run, except for when a timeout is called. Lead back up to 35, 59-24, as we drop under 7 minutes, and the rain drains for Lake Minneola.
2-point jumper for Asia Collins.
So we talked before the break about Wekiva, and we have not brought this up in recent home games, Mark, but of course this is Wekiva's season finale. We had senior night. Shadaria Smith, one of 2 seniors, has put up 23 points. As Holiday, the rebounding machine.
Holiday for 3.
So known for rebounding, Holiday shows some shooting range. And Wekiva will come back the other way. But we just wanted to mention that Wekiva, of course, last year was the state runner-up in Class 6A. They won 19 of 20 games going into that state championship final against Eli Blanche. And unfortunately, they gave up an 11-point lead with about 11 minutes remaining. Not all at once. They started to lose that lead with 11 minutes left. And it was the first time they gave up a double-digit lead during the course of the entire
White
season.
On the layup.
And so the reason I bring that up, Mark, again, they're going to go into the playoffs, the district championship tournament first as the 2nd seed. And really, their mission all season has been unfinished business. And, of course, we also mentioned that Wekiva is that program ever since Coach Butts took over. Really, they actually started under Coach Butts. I believe they were 1-19 and then won 5 of 6 games to conclude his first season, as we now have a whistle and a stoppage. And, of course, the next season, which was Coach Butts' 2nd season, that was the ended 2013-14 season. Wekiva ascended to its first state championship. They added a 2nd championship in 2019.
Yeah, actually, Neil, I brought my hardware with me today to celebrate senior night, and our seniors were a part of that as Omaria Gordon picks up 2 for the Mustangs. But yeah, I'm wearing my 2 championship rings, and I brought some medals. I'll clank them in front of the microphone here so you can hear them. Just not specifically to intimidate Lake Minneola, but just to honor our seniors and bring the hardware along.
Yeah, and my point is to your comment before we went to the break between quarters, that Wekiva's in rarefied air. Just getting to the state Final Four since winning that first championship is considered an average season for Wekiva.
Foul is called against Omaria Gordon, her 2nd, the team's 2nd. At the line, shooting 3 for being behind the arc is Delana Forrest.
And, of course, also want to bring it up because, of course, we are in a running clock. We are now under 4 minutes, 66-26 is the Wekiva lead. As far as Wekiva is concerned, they're closing out the season. The motto is still the same, unfinished business, after losing the state championship final last year and giving up that 11-point lead.
Nydia Christie into the game for Lake Minneola. And also should point out Tiara Coleman takes the court for the first time. She came in a few minutes ago. She's a JV bump up.
Yeah, getting the call up to provide some depth for the playoffs. 3:15 remaining. Again, running clock. We've been in running clock since about a minute remaining in the third quarter. When the lead grows to 35 points, the clock continues to run. It will only stop if one of the coaches call timeout.
Held ball. Possession, Minneola.
And we are now...
Shania McCarthy back in for the Mustangs.
And we now drop under 3 minutes. That was Eads coming out, and she will finish this game with 8 points. A bit of a slow night for Eads. Of course, she is the leading scorer. She has been the leading scorer since the first game. Tonight, though, was about the seniors, and in particular, Shadaria Smith, the starting senior and the member of the 1,000-point career club. 56-27 is your score. Neil Fisher, Wekiva with that lead. The tray, no good. Clinks off the rim. Moffitt with the rebound. Looked like she got away with the travel. She brought that ball above her shoulders. She'll get the go on the give and go and drop the deuce.
Rylan Moffitt.
68-27, 2 minutes remaining. McCarthy on defense. Lake Minneola with the ball. McCarthy doing a nice job haggling the ball carrier. Lake Minneola trying to get at least up to 30 points. And the drive through the middle from Collins. She will not get it, but there will be a foul on the offensive rebound. And with that running clock, 1:45 remaining when the foul was committed, most of the clock is going to be consumed.
Foul is called against Mustangs, number 15, Rylan Moffitt. Her third personal foul.
Okay, so instead we are going to get a timeout. There will be 1:30 when we return. 68-27, Wekiva in the lead. Welcome back to Mustang Gymnasium. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi, along with the broadcast production department students here at Wekiva. This is the Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network. Wekiva has a 68-27 lead, 90 seconds remaining. It's pretty much play out the clock now. Wekiva led for all but about 30 seconds in the season finale, as well as senior night and homecoming. Yes, homecoming, first time ever held inside in the gymnasium as well as during basketball season. So now Wekiva coming out of the break, and it looks like they're going to be content just to take the time off the clock. And no basket there. Moffitt with the rebound, doing some work underneath. And Amari Gordon, the freshman, doing work.
Omari Gordon on the third chance basket for the Mustangs.
So Wekiva will close out the regular season 18-3. That's their highest winning percentage ever under Coach Butts. And Smith, the senior, is going to cap off an impressive night with her 24th and 25th point.
Shadaria Smith makes it a 25-point game for herself.
So Wekiva will head into the playoffs with an 18-3 record. And as we mentioned, they will be the number 2 seed in the district championship tournament. Mainland will be number 1. And the tournament will be held here at Mustang Gymnasium. So take a look at the WekivaMustangs.com for the games and the times.
Yeah, and a programming note on that. Postseason games air only on NFHS Network, not on YouTube. That's an FHSAA rule, and so we have to follow that. And that takes us to the end of the ball game and the end of the season. 72-27 is the final score here on senior night and homecoming night. Congratulations once again to our Mustang seniors, Stephanie White and Shadaria Smith. Congratulations also to Kyla Combra, our homecoming king, and Arkaya McClendon, our homecoming queen. Mustangs end with a big win, and again we want to remind you that next week Wekiva hosts the district tournament. It begins on Tuesday, but the Mustangs have earned a first-round bye, so Wekiva will not be playing on Tuesday. If you'd like to buy tickets to those games anyway and come out and see them, it's going to be South Lake versus Winter Springs at 5 o'clock Tuesday, New Smyrna Beach versus Forest at 7 o'clock on Tuesday. The winners of those two schools will get to come back and play Wednesday. Meanwhile, Mainland and Wekiva get to bypass the first round. They go straight into the semifinals on Wednesday. Mainland will take on the winner of New Smyrna Beach versus Forest at 5 o'clock. And Wednesday at 7 o'clock, Wekiva will take on the winner of South Lake versus Winter Springs. And then finally, mark your calendar to hold time on Friday, February 5th at 7 p.m. And that will be the championship game between the winner of those Wednesday games. Admission is $6. That is set by the FHSAA. And also we want you to know that the webcast will only be on NFHS Network. That is the exclusive home of postseason action for the FHSAA. So we'll be live streaming there. Also a reminder that during State Series events, only FHSAA State Series passes are accepted. Faculty IDs, coach passes, and other forms of general admission are not accepted at postseason events. So again, $6 general admission, only State Series passes accepted, and the webcast is available exclusively on NFHS Network. We hope that you will join us for that. Thank you for coming out tonight, and thank you also to those of you who tuned in on YouTube or the NFHS Network. For those of you in the arena, please drive carefully and arrive home safely, and have a great night. For those of you who tuned in, thanks for joining us here at Mustang Arena tonight. The Mustangs come up with a big 72-27 win on senior night. Please subscribe before you go, and good night from Mustang Arena.